earlier, I was seeing in the Twitch chat somebody saying that they matched against OSW. So OSW definitely staying warm here. And we are off as we have a PCO stack from COLDLESS and OSW with an actual quad PC to start off their round. And this is a 6-3 up stack from OSW as COLDLESS is finding more of these spins, slowing down, a little bit of plonking here at the bottom of the board. And OSW sends a 27 spike. Cold has well access, but no eyepiece for the next well there. And that is going to be first point for OSW. Okay, so OSW starting off the round with a couple of misdrops while COLDLESS is setting up this. Ooh, misdrops the SDPC spin. And so both players kind of starting off as an odd spot. And Cold misdrops another piece, gets into the well, and both players are pretty much back and stable. OSW does find that back-to-back, is forced to break it at the top of the board. Very nice, clean well waiting for OSW here, whereas Cold's board is not as welcoming. They do get out of the top of the board into the more easy to work with part of it. OSW stacking on top of the garbage here as this 13 spike from COLDLESS is going to force him to break. All right, Cold up at the top of the board here. Yeah, that piece isn't really going to help you much. That piece isn't either. And yeah, that's just going to be the round. Second round for OSW. TKIs from both sides. Both going into an LST stack. We have the 2-7 versus 7-2. Thank you for the water. And we have a 20 spike from COLDLESS, but a misdrop over the well. And so COLDLESS is going to be forced to slow down a little bit. Another misdrop from their side is going to slow them down yet again. And that puts a lot of cheese onto Cold's board. They're going to have to stack through that, but OSW sends a 24 spike into a 13 spike. Yeah, that is going to close out that round. Cold with the SDPC spin and OSW with the C spin opener. A little bit of a misdrop from OSW, but they're able to combo down stack it there, defend against the garbage right there. And that is a -8 on OSW's board. Cold is spamming out these T spins, but they do misdrop a Z piece that's going to create some holes on their board. They're trying to fix this without breaking back to back. Eventually do break back to back here as OSW is trying to build up count to 4 over these wells right here. Finds well access without breaking that back to back there as just sends a 35 spike. Yeah, okay, so Cold does not have the pieces ready for that 35 spike. Wow. All right, OSW finding an all clear in the middle of that. Building up a fractals. COLDLESS at the top of the board, building up with some all spins. They do break, their OSW breaks back to back. That does send over to Cold's board. Cold is handling this pretty well right now, slowing down as OSW is building up this back to back yet again. Cold is just trying to play defense, stay down stacked, and doing a really good job of it so far. Ooh, okay, OSW breaks back to back. Cold is able to defend against most of it. A little bit of hesitation there makes me wonder if they misdropped. They get through it for now, just in time, as they do have a bit of cheese on their board, and OSW is just continuing to upstack here. Okay, and Cold finds the cheese on OSW's board right there. And OSW is going to continue stacking on top of this cheese, but you're going to have to address it at some point. And OSW chooses now. T spins into it right now, and then, yeah, just trying to find that combo down stack, and that's going to put some cheese on a Cold's board. Cold working through their board right now, and OSW with a little bit of hesitancy there, and all right, finding the down stack. Both players finding their rhythm right now. And OSW with some fast back-to-back buildup and that 17 spike in the middle of that there. Cold now has that -9 on their board just staring at them. And yeah, OSW does send. That is going to be a little bit messy, but not too ridiculous over here. But yeah, Cold just not having the pieces. The O piece in hold is just like, sometimes that is the last piece you want there. Sometimes you're like, oh, any piece would get me out of this except for the O piece, and you look at what you have there, that's just, it's just over. Like, you just can't do anything about that. All right, both players finding that back-to-back. OSW counting to 4. Cold with a little bit of a mess on their board, and yeah, they misdropped that S piece. And Yeah, OSW with the sweep so far, but definitely time for COLDLESS to come back as we, saw in that last set there. Both players with the PC to start. OSW looking for another one, finds it, but not in time. All right, so Cold with the advantage in Surge right now, and all right, sends it over to OSW. OSW at the top of the board. OSW with the 14 combo down stack right there, not really affecting Cold too much as they do find a 17, 19, 22 down stack of their own. Appears to misdrop that JPs. That's going to slow them down a little bit as OSW is going to be looking to build back-to-back again here. Cold with a nice wall on their board, and OSW is pushed up to the top right now. Definitely going to have to think creatively here on this down stack. Greeds for a quad, which is insane. Ooh, yeah. Cold just does not have the eyepiece in time, just one piece too late in the queue, and OSW finds a 7th consecutive point. All right. OSW misdrops MS2. Finds a way out of it before Cold can kill. Cold with some all spins here, does not break back-to-back on the way. That is some clean stacking. It is got to be so nerve-wracking to just be trying to back-to-back stack at the top of the board. But not enough for them on that round. Yeah, I admire the back-to-back stacking on the top of the board, working out, just playing confident for COLDLESS right there. But yeah, OSW speed is just so hard to play against. Both players with the TKI into LST. A little bit of ponking from Cold's side right there, and OSW misdrops an L piece, and that is going to force him to break back-to-back. Cold breaks soon after, and that is going to leave a little bit of cheese on OSW's board, but not too much to handle there. As Cold is just stacking over this nice garbage well, and that is such a great continuation into that 28 spike. That is just such a good find there from Cold, and that is going to be their first point here. So put the brooms away. No sweep here. STPC spin from Cold. OSW with the 7-2 stack, but there's going to... Oh, no, that misdrop from OSW. Cold is able to find a 20 spike with their Surge garbage and is going to find a second point with that. OSW misdrops MS2 again. And Cold has the SDPC spin going again. OSW finding a way to downstack that doesn't break back-to-back is very creative there. Counting to 4 as Cold breaks their back-to-back and suddenly has a -10 on their board. Yeah, that quick build up there from OSW is very nice and is going to put him 2 points away from the end of this set here. So this is losers semifinals. So winner of this does play Blarg. So definitely not a very easy opponent on the other side for them. Both building up that back-to-back. We hear those dings on both sides. Cold breaks back-to-back first. OSW keeps back-to-back and is going to have to break right there. Not exactly the stack that he wanted, and is going to leave a little bit of cheese on his board. Down stack here from OSW. Down stack from COLDLESS. Both players at the bottom of their board. OSW pushes COLDLESS up a little bit. There's the combo down stack from Cold that's going to keep them in a very nice state here, having a nice floating T-spin setup, and OSW has this 11 back-to-back, continuing this with these all spins. Ooh, just thought that he could stack quickly enough there, and that is what tops out OSW. Yeah. I like having the game up on one monitor and the Twitch stream up on the other, because sometimes if someone dies and I didn't see why, I can figure it out because I have like a 1 second delay on the Twitch stream. That's what happened there. All right, so OSW with a 15 spike at the beginning of this. Both players have no surge right now. OSW looking to build it back up with this cut copy. Misdrops again, and yeah, that is going to be the round. COLDLESS mirroring this last set a little bit, creeping up on OSW here, but I think the mental game is a little bit different for these two. OSW finds a PC, looks for another one, and then misdrops the T-piece. All right, COLDLESS with a 13 spike turns into a 20 spike with the surge, and then OSW fails to... Yeah, that's a misdrop. That was... He definitely meant to rotate that piece, and yeah. COLDLESS still has a lot to come back from here, but it is getting more and more doable with every point. We have TKIs from both sides. COLDLESS blocks their TKI, knowing that OSW will send his faster. OSW with a combo down stack here. Continues to combo with an 18 spike, and Cold is pretty much unaffected by that. Some nice all spins to try to build up back-to-back here. Little bit of plonking action. Both players find that back-to-back. Both players break it. It leaves a little bit of cheese on OSW's side, not too much on COLDLESS' side. Some all spin action from Cold as they do find a 15 spike. OSW sends that surge and has a lot of messy garbage at the bottom of the board right now. Cold sends even more messy garbage as OSW sets up a 4-wide, maybe not finding the combo that he was looking for out of it, but still cheeses Cold's board. Definitely a noticeable... OSW, what? Oh my god. Those misdrops there. All right, Cold is pushed up at the top of the board, does find their way into that next well, down to a reasonable spot on their board. OSW working through a little bit of cheese there, sending a little bit of cheese with this, and ooh, that misdrop on the T-piece there is not what OSW meant to do, and they do have an out right there. Very nice, clean out right there. Definitely has to break back-to-back for that, but still very clean way to open up that well, as Cold is stacking these T-spins over the well right now. Some all spins right there and finds a nice 20 spike out of this. And that is going to be another point for COLDLESS. If you're OSW, you're sweating right now. You're sweating a little bit. I think that OSW is less likely to completely top out than Blarg is, but we'll see. Okay, so OSW is looping MS2 right now, as Cold is pretty much unaffected by it. Finds a nice spike out of it. Cold with a little bit of hesitation, finds the back-to-back, immediately breaks it. As OSW is continuing to build their back-to-back, finds that 9 right there. As Cold finds that 15 spike, OSW does not break back-to-back. Little bit of slowing down from OSW here, but counts to 4, finds that next well, 14, 15, make that 16 as OSW has the speed to continue. And yeah, you need to break that, buddy. Okay, there it is. Into a 29 spike. And yeah, Cold just cannot get out of that one. That's going to bring it to match point for OSW. MS2 versus SDPC spin here. OSW breaks that back-to-back. Cold is 6-3 stacking up their board right now. Very little garbage visible, and there's one garbage on their board as OSW has that -10, -11 sitting on their board right now as Cold is building up that back-to-back spike. OSW is just trying to pressure and keep well access. Ooh, and Cold sends that 17 spike while OSW's well is covered, but he has enough to get through it. Counting to 4, keeping the well open. Cold with an 11 spike right there. A little bit of cheese onto Cold's board, going for that up stack, and ooh, that's a very nice continuation to find that T-spin as OSW has a hole on the board that he's definitely going to have to fix. Speaking of holes on the board, Cold has a little bit of cheese coming up in this queue right now and finds their way through all of it. Very nice clean well waiting for them. OSW with a combo down stack here gets pushed up by Cold's attack. Cold just finding that, okay, finding the all spins into the down stack. And OSW finds enough attack. Yeah, just a little bit of hesitation there from Cold is going to top them out. And OSW does find the closer there. So is going to move on and play Blarg. This could be interesting. Okay, OSW is going to take a moment. Never mind. Leaves the lobby and then comes right back in as he